Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Harakakwadash. Double honors to the Apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who are tuning into these videos. Alright, so the topic of this video is going to be about persecution, because I have this article right here. It was posted on the 11th of November, 2019, year of Karagma, and it's pretty much, the gist of it is there was a cop who was also an IOIC member, and he was at one of their little marches, and someone noticed it, and then they reported it to the police, and then he got put on administrative leave, because pretty much he was affiliated with a so-called black nationalist movement, a group, a hate-mongering group, and the police officers the cops are pretty much saving face, and put him on administrative leave, pretty much scorning him for what he believes in. This person in particular, he subscribes to IUIC's teachings, but nonetheless, one thing that they teach at the IUIC is that the so-called Blacks, Latinos, Native Americans are the real Israelites that the scriptures are speaking about. We can't have that in Esau's world, because he's got an agenda to push, and even though IUIC, I personally don't believe they have the full truth. I can't hate on them for saying the truth. If the devil says the truth, well, it's the truth. And it's the same thing for within the nation of Israel. If anybody's saying the truth, you can't counteract that with another truth, because it's already the truth. So kudos to them for saying the right things. Teaching our nation who they are. But ultimately, that comes with a stigma. Because you're pretty much going by the volume of the book. What book? The Holy Bible, as the world calls it. The Holy Scriptures. And so I'm going to go ahead and read this article, and I'm going to bring out the precepts. Alright, so it says, Greensboro police officer on paid administrative leave. Video shows him with possible hate group at NC at A&T homecoming weekend. Alright, so it says a Greensboro police officer has been placed on paid administrative leave just weeks after marching in a parade with an organization that the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is a bunch of weirdos. I don't know if I'm able to find it. Now, so the Southern Poverty Law Center pretty much should be labeled as a sexual harassment group, because I'm not going to read in this article real quick. I'm just going to show you who I'm talking about when they speak about the Southern Poverty Law Center. I'll bring out this information up as well. It's pretty much the background of the SPLC is they go and label hate mongering groups, and you got all these great Millstone members: Black Riders Liberation Party, Army of Israel, Ancient Egyptians, IUIC, Nation of Islam. And we're not Islamic. We're just Hebrew Israelites. We just read what they would call the Old Testament and the New Testament. But ultimately we get put on this list of hate. But pretty much this people, they need to get put on a list of sexual harassment people. Because this is a former colleague accused incoming Hines DA Jody Owens of sexual harassment. It was pretty much a guy in that group. It says head of the Southern Poverty Law Center in Mississippi say he sexually harassed them. Pretty much he was trying to get with his daughter-in-law or something like that. I don't know the exact story, but you can read it on your own. This is Esau pretty much showing himself blameless and pointing the finger at other people. And mainly they're pointing the finger at Great Millstone, for teaching, the true doctrine of the scriptures. Alright, so continue on the article. It says, on October 26, Lieutenant Stacy Morton was seen with members of Israel United in Christ a group of Black Hebrew Israelite movement. The movement believes that African Americans are the chosen people of God and the true descendants from the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, see, this is the truth right here, because this group, they proclaim that the so-called African Americans are the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, continue on. It says, according to the SPLC, the group is anti-police and believes white people are the devil, Jews are fake Jews, and members of the LGBT community are sinners. It's pretty much according to what they say is according to what we believe, because it's according to the scriptures. And yes, people from the LGBT community are sinners. And then the so-called Jews in the land right now are not the real Jews. They're the Amalekites. And we over here at Great Millstone, we also teach the doctrine of the Israelite foreigners. Because you're going to have, descendants of Jacob who look like all the other nations. So we don't necessarily say white people. But that's just them, trying to paint a picture of a all black hate mongering group. When if you go watch our videos, you can see that we have like multiple different looks and shades of brown, shades of white even within the members of Great Millstone. Slovakia. Let's continue on. It says, it was that same rhetoric captured on social media video that the group shouted in microphones from tent to any passed by at NC. Morton can be seen throughout the 40-minute video sitting in a purple robe under the tent behind the speaker looking at his cell phone. White supremacist Tom Metzger, founder of the White Aryan Resistance Organization, called the group the black counterpart of us, the Law Center said. And we're not the black counterpart of the White Aryan Resistance. We're the Hebrew Israelites the Bible's speaking about, regardless of how we look like. But the majority of us are the so-called Black Latinos, Native Americans that are over here in the North Americas. You have our nation all over the world. You have our nation that could pass as a so-called White Aryan Resistance member. Alright, so it says, police have not confirmed that Morton was placed on administrative leave because of his participation with the group during homecoming weekend. He's been placed on administrative leave. I'm just trying to go through this quick. The Southern Poverty Law Center named 3 black nationalist groups based in Greensboro as hate groups during 2018. Pretty much IUIC and another group and the Nation of Islam. And it says the Black Hebrew Israelite movement gained national attention earlier this year when Covington Catholic High School student Nick Sandman was captured facing off with the Native American activist Nathan Phillips on the steps of Lincoln Memorial. And it says Sandman told media outlets that he and his classmates were trying to overpower hateful comments being made by Black Hebrew Israelite protesters who were also present. And you already know about what was going on, at that event. It was pretty much persecution was coming because of the scoffing. It says, and though the SPLC acknowledges that most Hebrew Israelites are not racist, anti-Semitic, or advocates of violence, there is a rising extremist sector within the movement that thousands have joined. The Law Center said that in 2018, the hate group's leaders used people's fear during a climate of racial divisiveness as a recruiting tool. Alright, so I'm just going to go into the precepts. So this is Matthew 10 and 22. It says, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. So when we go out there on the highways and hedges, the main focal point in this article is IUIC. Pretty much, when we go out there on the highways and hedges, preaching the gospel, we're going to be hated for Yahweh Shai's namesake. It's because we're pretty much the defenders of truth. We're the physical representations of Yahweh Shai. And so the world's going to hate us for that. So this is 1 Peter 3 and 14. It says, but, and if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their territory, neither be troubled. So if all these people are trying to slander you, just be okay with it, because the scriptures speak about it. It's prophecy that's going to happen. I don't know, they're just talking to a bunch of Jakes, old Jakes. So anyways, Yeah, so we're going to you know go through trials and tribulations, and one of those trials and tribulations is that the world is going to vehemently hate us for what we believe in. Because if you believe in the so-called white Jesus Christ, you're good. You're pretty much a member of the world. Because Jesus Christ, he accepts everybody. He died for everybody and all that stuff. All right, so continue on. This is John 7:6. It says, Then Yahweh Shai said unto them, My time is not yet come, but your time is always ready. The world cannot hate you, but me it hateth, because I testify of it, that the works thereof are evil. Because one thing we're doing when we're hitting the highways and hedges is we're proclaiming how wicked it is. Pretty much there's going to be a new kingdom that's going to be risen up out of righteousness. So during this wicked rulership, it's going to be adversary, obviously. And this is John 15 verse 18. It says, If the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love his own. So if you were basically worshiping Jesus Christ, the so-called white Jesus Christ, who's actually Cesare Borgia, the world will love you. You wouldn't be a factor. You wouldn't be a threat to this current society. But pretty much because we ascribe to the teachings of Great Millstone. We believe that's 100% truth. That Yahweh Shai is a dark-skinned black man, or so-called dark-skinned man, with white woolly hair, and he's going to come down to pretty much kill the majority of the people of the world. Being sodomites, people who sin, within his own nation as well. Not everybody's going to be saved. People are going to die on the day of the Lord. But because we believe that, we become adversary to this world. So we can't really mesh with it. We can't hang out with people within the world because of our beliefs. Alright, so I'm going to read verse 19 again. It says, If you were of the world will love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. So because right here, so we can't, you can't say that can't say we didn't tell you that this persecution is going to be from the world. That's pretty much adversaries from the current world we're living in. And so verse 20 says, Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my sayings, they will keep yours also. So just how the servant is not greater than the master, Yahweh Shai died on the cross. He suffered a lot of persecution. We're going to go through similar trials and tribulations the same way that Yahweh Shai went to, because he was adversary to this current wicked rulership, and so are we. We're contrary to it. And so this is 1 Peter 4, and start at verse 1. It says, For as much then as Hamashiach had suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourself likewise with the same mind. For he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin. Because ultimately, we have to arm ourselves likewise, because these trials and tribulations are going to affect our daily lives once stuff starts hitting the fan. But ultimately, if you're if you pretty much got your armor, your shield of faith, and you'll be able to put out the darts of Satan. Anything that he'll come against you won't work. Whether it be during Jacob's trouble, you're pretty much going to be led to food if you're pretty much a follower of Yahweh Shai. So you pretty much have to prepare yourself, as it says, arm yourselves likewise the same mind. You got to prepare yourself in the mind for the things that he spoke about that were going to happen. And things that he said, they don't go out void. They actually happen. They manifest. It says right here in 1 Peter 4:1, it says, Arm yourselves likewise with the same mind, for he hath suffered in the flesh, hath ceased from sin. And going back to John 15:20, I'm just going to read the parts. The servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. So you have to arm yourself likewise in that same mentality. You have to suffer persecution for righteousness' sake. And so this is 1 Thessalonians 3 verse 4 says, "For verily, when we were with you, we told you before that we should suffer tribulation, even as it came to pass, and you know." Because if you know about the books of Thessalonians, these were pretty much epistles, sent out to strengthen the bodies of the believers over there in like all those places in like Thessalonica, Rome, all those places, but pretty much, like all these things, like, how Shai was speaking about these things. It's because you can see all the precepts that I got lined up for this specific video. It's pretty much we were being reminded, a whole bunch of times. One of the many things that we were being reminded of, like one is, feeding the sheep, helping the brotherhood out. And then one of the other things is to arm yourselves likewise for the persecution we're about to face for the things that we believe in. I put a little sticky note that says, "If you put your hand to the plow, don't say we didn't warn you." So you gotta keep that in your mind. As you're working, we're working in infested waters. We're fishing pretty much, and there's alligators in this water. So you have to arm yourself likewise for that mentality. Because if you went to the job site and you had no idea that there was alligators there, there's a good chance that you're gonna get bit by one because you were unaware of it. So all this persecution is coming because of the prophecies that are happening. And the book of Revelation speaks about the last prophecies that are going to happen before Yahushua returns. And one of those, again, is the persecution that we're going to face. And this is Revelation 2 verse 10. It says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prisons, that ye may be tried." And pretty much the officer who was at this IUIC gathering, the people who his bosses, they pretty much wanted to throw him into prison, for what he believes in. And that same trial and tribulation is going to be on the men, who follow Yahweh Shai, who subscribe to his doctrine. Some of us are going to be martyrs. I pray that if I'm a martyr, that I have the spirit to overcome that fear, and that I won't choose the RFID chip over getting my head chopped off. Alright, so I'm going to read from the top again. It's Revelation 2 verse 10. It says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give you a crown of life." Osaki says, "And I will give thee a crown of life." Don't think like say, during the last days, the last seconds, Jacob's trouble, when all the how do you call them, the National Guard troops are coming in, kicking down doors, looking for the men of the Lord who don't have the RFID chip. They're going to put you in a prison. Don't just think that 10 days will pass and then something will happen. You'll be saved out of it. No, this number rule here is just like a concept. Is that you're going to be put in tribulation 10 days. 10 days is a lot of days. Like maybe you're going to get put in a prison cell for 10 days, and they're not going to feed you food or water. And that's why we got to prepare our bodies, mind, so that so if anything like that happens, we're able to, you'll basically not bend the knee to Esau's rulership. Because it could be 20 days, it could be 8 days, or it could actually be 10 days. But ultimately, nothing, like pretty much, if you can't take your hand off the plow. Nothing can take your hand off the plow. Whether it be your starvation or your family, you have to. I'm going to read from right here. It says, "Be thou faithful unto death." So you have to be faithful unto death. And it says, "And I will give thee a crown of life." So through all this tribulation that is prophesied to happen, that we're going to live through, we're pretty much doing it for the crown. And we can't let nobody take the crown. And, just to end this video on a good note, there's the vision of Esdras, when he saw Yahweh Shai crowning the elect, after all the stuff that they went through. and then they were saved up from the oncoming destruction of America. So this is 2nd Ezra 2 verse 47 says, so he answered and said unto me, it is the Son of the Most High, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. So I'm going to read more of the 2nd Ezra just to get the point across. Yeah, I've been here before with the highlights. Alright, so speaking about this is the vision that Ezra saw. So 2nd Ezra 2 verse 42 says, I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of high stature, taller than the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which marveled greatly. And that young man is Yahushai. It says right here from Revelation 2 and 10, it says, and I will give you, and I will give thee a crown of life. So that's what we're doing this for. That's what we're getting this. We're going through these tribulations for. It's pretty much for that crown of life. That crown of rulership. That crown of honor and humility. Alright, so see where did I leave off of? I would start at verse 44. It says, so I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? And verse 45 said, he answered and said unto me, these be they that have put off the mortal clothing and put off the immortal, and have confessed the name of the Most High. Now are they crowned and receive palms. So like I said, in order to do that, we have to go through tribulation. This is pretty much it's a competition. We're trying to win for gold. We're trying to go for gold. So don't let no one take your crown away, regardless of whatever type of tribulation they put you through. Whether it be your job fires you, which is what's happened before. But obviously it's going to happen more and more as those last days come, and Yahushai's return comes, and destroys this place. So that's the end of this video. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Har Kakodash, and Shalom Akim.